346 fugitives. Last weekend, you helped bring in a record 4 captures in just 24 hours. Those stories tonight. Then,
good evening. My name is Tara Cleveland.
A beauty pageant winner.
I tried really hard. I did my best, but I'm happy with what I got.
With hopes and dreams for the future.
Someone who was going someplace great in life.
Until she was cut down by one of America's most wanted.
Good evening from Washington, D.C. I'm John Walsh. What a remarkable week we've had here at America's Most Wanted. 5 accused killers are behind bars, 4 within 24 hours, all thanks to you. And it started when a fugitive we've been chasing for a year and a half was captured. Saturday, 3:05 p.m. We hadn't even hit the airwaves yet with that night's broadcast, but we already had our first capture, Matt Dewar. Police say in September of 1992, Dewar thought a friend had stolen his prized hunting knife, and the misunderstanding led to murder. We didn't get Dewar right away, but we did send him running scared.
He said that he was in a bus depot in California and seen it first aired on America's Most Wanted. At that point, he got out of the bus station, and he's been hanging out in areas like this ever since.
Flushed out of hiding, Dewar wasn't hard to find. Deputies in Oregon picked up his trail.
On Saturday afternoon, Deputy Ansley and myself arrived at this tent. It's illegally set up on the state park's property. And at that point, he gave us his real name of Matthew Dewar and said he was wanted for a homicide out of California.
Tonight, Dewar is awaiting transfer to California, where he will face charges of murder. Now, here's a quick review of just before 10 p.m. We were showing our weekly recap, which included Edward Mayran. Mayran was wanted by Rhode Island police for the brutal murder of 46-year-old Patricia Paquette.
The cause of death was strangulation. Sometime after that, the body was dismembered. We believe a knife as well as a saw were used in the dismemberment.
On Saturday, a worker at this homeless shelter in New Haven, Connecticut, caught the end of our broadcast.
At about 9:55 p.m., they did a wrap-up on the show, and they put Edward Mayran's face and said his name, and immediately my antennas went up.
The New Haven Police Department received a telephone call from the manager of the Emmanuel Baptist Shelter located on Grand Avenue. They stated that a suspect that had just been shown on America's Most Wanted was present in the shelter, and he had been there for approximately a month or so.
Within 10 minutes of being on America's Most Wanted, Mayran was in police custody. 10:45, the next hot tip comes in. This one on Gabrielle Cruz, wanted for the senseless murder of 7-year-old Eva Rojas. Police say Cruz was part of a gang that robbed her family and took her life last fall. You told us Cruz had fled to Sterling, Virginia, where he moved into this apartment with family. He wanted to watch America's Most Wanted last Saturday, but his family was watching videos, so he went to bed.
We went into the apartment. Basically, we checked the rooms, and in one of the back bedrooms, we located Mr. Cruz.
With Cruz in custody, only one fugitive from that night of robbery and murder remains, Francis Sepulveda. Little Eva's family won't rest until he's brought in.
It doesn't matter where he goes, I'll find him. It's like, I told the police, I don't care if it takes me 100 years, you can run, but you can hide.
3 captures in less than 12 hours is great. Now let's add Sepulveda to the list. He may be in the New York or New Jersey area. If you've seen him, call 1-800-CRIME-TV. We were absolutely thrilled about getting those 3 so quickly, but the roundup didn't stop there. We capped off the weekend with the capture of a man charged with a brutal killing, John Anthony Birch. His alleged accomplice says Birch laughed as they tortured, raped, and finally killed a young woman. Lieutenant Tricia Hacker from Sacramento never gave up. She made it her personal mission to bring Birch to justice.
Birch. Yes, ma'am. This is an initial appearance warrant. You have fugitive warrants from 2 jurisdictions. You have one from California for the charge of murder. You have one from Georgia for parole violation on manslaughter.
Lieutenant Tricia Hacker had waited years to see Birch in custody. On Monday, she flew to Phoenix to pick up the man she says committed the most horrible crime she has ever seen.
This is the case that gives any investigator nightmares at night. I'm very relieved a dangerous person is off the streets.
Excuse me, ma'am.
As we showed you last week, police say John Birch and another convicted felon kidnapped 35-year-old Linda Kennedy from a Sacramento parking lot in December of 1985.
We're going on a little trip. Now you be a good little girl, and we'll let you go. Understand?
No, please don't.
Police say Linda's attackers took her through a 12-hour, 300-mile ordeal of torture and rape, debating all the while whether or not to kill her. Linda had to die, they decided, because she would be able to identify them. 2 days later, on Christmas Eve morning, workers in Imperial County, California, found Linda's body in an irrigation ditch. Autopsy revealed Linda's killers had broken one bone after another. Duct tape over her mouth had caused her to suffocate.
It's just something that we lived with all the time.
It's been 9 years, and I still come around and pull into the driveway and look up front. I think I'm going to see her car there.
Linda's family has depended on investigator Tricia Hacker to see that her killers are brought to trial.
Her perseverance is amazing. You know, when she first got on the case, she just wouldn't let go of it.
I've got my work cut out for me, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to successfully help in this prosecution.
Hacker has been relentless. When Birch and his alleged accomplice were released on a technicality, Hacker feared they were getting away with murder. So when she took over the case in 1993, she developed enough new information to get the charges reinstated.
What's this about? What's this about?
Rape and murder of Linda Kennedy.
Birch's companion was quickly arrested, but Birch himself was nowhere to be found until you started calling.
The tip that we received said that he was possibly living in the Phoenix area, that he was a born-again Christian, possibly attending church for the homeless.
Last Sunday, your tips helped police track Birch to this transient motel in downtown Phoenix, where he was living with a girlfriend.
A bunch of guys come up in like plain clothes with those blue T-shirts on, you know. About 4 or 5 of them just barged right in his room.
Mr. Birch started fighting with them. They had to use some force to take him into custody. They were able to do that without anyone being injured. As they were taking him into custody, he kept telling them, "I'm not the guy, I'm not the guy," even before they said anything to him. And then later on, he admitted as to his true identity.
To those who knew him as John Shannon, his girlfriend's last name, Birch was an imposing presence.
John was a big guy. He's got big arms. He's big. He would be the type of guy that you wouldn't want to confront, I don't think.
My partner, J.R. Payne, and I are going to transport John Birch ourselves. He'll be shackled, and we'll take him directly to Sacramento County Jail.
Now, with both suspects in custody, Lieutenant Hacker has helped bring Linda's family one step closer to ending its long nightmare.
I don't think it's going to end until the trial is over and a final decision is made. And I'm not sure it's going to end completely then, but it's going to be a long ways towards putting this thing behind us.
I personally prayed that you would help take this animal off the streets, and you did. We first learned of this case when the Kennedys asked for our help. Now they want to thank everyone who called in. When we come back, the story of a good-time girl with a bad attitude. Stay with us. Our next story is about a woman police say has an addiction to cheap thrills. When they interviewed Tammy Weller about her crime, they were surprised at her total lack of remorse. It seemed as though Weller got a thrill from trying to kill. What you're about to hear was taken directly from police transcripts.
Tammy Weller, have you been advised of your rights tonight?
Yeah.
Do you wish to make a statement at this time?
Mm-hmm.
Are you under any kind of duress, threat, drugs, or alcohol at this time?
Yeah, I'm high and I'm drunk.
What are you on?
I'm on cocaine since Saturday and I'm Pot and alcohol.
Have you had the occasion to be with the subject by the name of John Hudson?
I met him in the bar yesterday.
Las Vegas, Nevada, March 12, 1990. Far from the glitter and neon of the Strip, construction workers and roommates John Hudson and David Pettit were trying their luck at the Madison Avenue Bar and Grill.
Come on, this is the weekend. We gotta find something different.
Just walk through the door.
Yeah.
What are you drinking?
Whatever you're buying.
Whiskey?
Make it a double.
Looks like you know how to party.
The how-to's the easy part. So who's with you're gonna have to work on. So I ended up passing out, and I stayed all night. And then this morning his roommate showed me his gun. What are you doing with that gun?
We're killers. Blown away at least 24 beer cans since yesterday afternoon. What are you guys doing today?
I can't go back to Bakersfield without a trip down the Strip.
You got it. I'm going back to bed.
Town that never sleeps.
She said she was staying at the Dunes. I think she stole my .22. Look, the chick is crazy. She's with my roommate, John Hudson.
I love this town. I do. Pull over. Pull over. Pull over.
Hey, easy, Tammy. Come on.
What's the matter? You're not afraid to die, are you? Let's go to Caesar's. What? Park your vehicle. I feel lucky tonight. Yeah. I feel lucky.
There's a spot down here. I'll pull it in and we'll go play some blackjack or something.
Amazingly, John Hudson survived a point-blank bullet to the head. Tammy Weller turned herself in to Las Vegas police 2 hours later.
Was there an argument?
No, he was a nice guy.
Have you ever shot someone before?
No.
So why did you shoot someone tonight?
You know when you just go off and wonder? I just thought it up.
She pretty much ruined my life. My left hand just don't work right. Yeah, messed up my memory. The things I did yesterday, I can't even remember that I did it in just one day's time. I forget it. That's no fun.
On July 5th, 1990, Tammy Weller was sent to the Nevada's Women's Correctional Center in Carson City with a sentence of 20 years for attempted murder. In Carson City, Weller hooked up with Denise Smith, an inmate serving time for armed robbery.
Hate this place. You know, I'm gonna be 40 years old before I get out of here. I'm leaving.
You mean escape?
Yeah, I'm leaving tonight.
No way.
No way? So now let me tell you something. Nobody says no way to me. Now I want you to take this knife and I want you to cut the screen and we're gonna leave right after lockdown. You understand? Take it.
They beat the crap out of us.
What a coincidence. My wife just left me.
All right. Well, since we're all free, let's party.
We stopped and got some beer, and we decided to go to the Adventure Inn because I always wanted to go there and see what it was like.
Two female prisoners are on the run near Carson City. Prison officials say the two women hopped the fence at the
Cut it
Carson
out.
City
I'm not
Correctional Center.
interested.
Women are all alike.
Oh, gross me out. I'm not that hard up.
I was watching news at night, one night, about 11 o'clock, and I saw her picture on TV, and they said she escaped. And then I said, boom, that's her. That's the bitch that shot me. I knew her. As soon as I saw the picture on TV, I said, that's her. I want her. Let her come around me. She's mine.
Don Juan could have heard everything. We better get out of here.
An anonymous caller tipped off Reno police, but by then Weller and Smith were long gone. Weller and Smith found their way to a local truck stop. Once there, Weller quickly fell for the charms of trucker Ole Redmond. When the two women parted ways, Smith decided to turn herself in.
It was emotional. You know, we wished each other good luck. It wasn't worth it. I got 2 years in the hole for disciplinary inside the prison, and then I got a consecutive 1 year to my sentence, my previous sentence.
I think it's very unfair. This woman's out. She's free to do what she wants to. She's going any place she wants to. And my son, I mean, he's tied down the rest of his life. And this worthless piece of garbage is in the streets. And we've got a woman out there in the streets that's nothing but a total criminal.
Weller's victim, John Hudson, requires almost constant care. He can no longer work and suffers from seizures. His father says the worst part is knowing John's condition will never improve. John's life has been forever changed, while Tammy Weller has gone on as if nothing ever happened. Agents believe Weller and trucker Ole Redman are still together. They say Redman was on probation when he skipped town. They tracked the couple to Florida, but lost the trail in Jacksonville. Tammy Weller has a tattoo of a butterfly on her right shoulder blade. Agents say she had a baby sometime last fall, so the couple may be traveling with an infant. But Weller is described as the original party girl, and agents say motherhood probably hasn't slowed her down. She drinks beer, smokes Newport cigarettes, and is known to use cocaine and smoke pot. If you know where Tammy Weller is hiding tonight, call 1-800-CRIME-TV. That's 1-800-274-6388. Agents believe Redman is picking up freelance trucking jobs to support them. If you know anything at all about this case, please make that call. When we come back, the story of a young woman striving to become a beauty queen. The only thing that would stop her was murder. Stay with me. Last night, judges crowned a new Miss USA. The silver crown is a symbol that thousands of young women dream of winning. Tara Cleveland of Las Vegas, Nevada, had that dream. Her friends say Tara could have made it all the way to the top. The only thing that stopped her was a bullet from a stranger's gun. Our correspondent, Lennon Ozizwe, reports.
Beautiful.
Good evening. My name is Tara Cleveland.
Graceful.
She just glided across the stage.
Very intelligent.
Tara is 24 years old and she's a junior at UNLV.
Spunky.
And the girl in the back here is complaining that I'm still talking.
Determined. Someone who was going someplace great in life.
She was striving for the crown, but along the way, Tara Cleveland made many friends in a world known more for competition than congeniality.
She never acted superior. She never made me feel as inferior as I probably was.
Someone you could go up and just talk to and not worry about, oh, if I say something, is she going to use it against me or whatever. She was just really, you always felt comfortable going up to Tara.
She was always there helping you with your makeup or your hair, right?
Now, what are these stories you hear about people stealing hairspray and cat fights going on behind stage?
She would be the one to give you the hairspray. Right.
Tara was born in Las Vegas 24 years ago. One of 8 children, she distinguished herself as a bookworm.
She lost herself in reading.
And a beauty.
She's been posing since she was little.
Not that she thought she was good looking. At age 6, she wrote this letter to God, asking him to make her pretty. These pictures prove that she grew into a beautiful woman, but her mother says Tara acted as though her prayer went unanswered.
How did she get started in pageants? She didn't have very much self-esteem, and so in entering these contests and studying and observing others, trying to improve herself, well, she gained more confidence in herself and her ability to achieve, something in life.
Her achievements included being an honor student, a model, and a dancer for Bally's Jubilee Show. Her musical ability even captured the attention of Joe Jackson, father of Janet and Michael. And this past October, Tara was one of the finalists in the Miss Las Vegas pageant.
Then there were just the two of you on the stage.
It was going to be one of us. It was Tara and it was me. And, you couldn't go wrong in my eyes.
She told me that she was thinking about how proud her mother and father would be of her if she had won.
But I was proud of her regardless of what she won or not.
I always told her she was our beauty queen.
At the moment this photo was taken, Brooke Hammond became Miss Las Vegas 1995. Tara, the gracious first runner-up.
No, I was happy to be first runner-up. I'm very happy. I have a big trophy. I tried really hard. I did my best, but I'm happy with what I got.
I didn't encourage her to enter those contests because I hated to see her try so hard and be disappointed, but we never saw her really cry about the contest. She would just say, well, I enjoyed it.
Miss Las Vegas wasn't the only title Tara Cleveland was aiming for. Her family says she was in pageants largely for the scholarship money, so she could go on to law school and become an attorney. But the young woman who had so many places she wanted to go made her final journey this past December 17th.
Tara had only been working here at the Imperial Palace for 2 nights. She clocked out of work at 2:05 in the morning. As far as anyone knows, everything was fine.
Detective Mike Higgins and Sergeant Joe Forty from the North Las Vegas Police Department traced Tara's footsteps that night.
Tara was supposed to go meet with her boyfriend that morning to go have breakfast right afterward. This is the path we assume Tara took home.
She had the green light on Las Vegas Boulevard when she became a victim of a hit-and-run driver who ran a red light.
The victim is sitting where this truck is here. All of a sudden, the suspect vehicle flies through here and they have a collision.
The car Tara collided with sped away. A witness says Tara took off after the car, described as a burgundy four-door late-model Oldsmobile.
We don't know if Tara was just trying to catch up here and get a license plate from them. The witness did not remember seeing a license plate on the car.
Police say some 5 minutes later, the chase ended in this residential area of North Las Vegas.
There's a cell phone in her car. Why doesn't she dial 911? Why doesn't she get help that way?
I am afraid we'll never know that answer. There was a phone, it was working.
For whatever reason, Tara got out of the car and confronted the other driver, and at that moment lost her life.
She was shot where she was standing, and she died instantly, and it was a single shot.
Tara was shot in the face, and so the young woman who had sparkled so brightly in the public eye now lay on a dark street corner alone. 5 days later, a funeral was held for Tara, fit for a queen. Among the mourners was Joe Jackson, who says Tara was destined to succeed.
I was watching her for movies and also for albums.
What did you think she had the potential to be?
Well, she had a lot of talent. She could have been a writer, or she could have been a model, or she could have been an actress. She had a lot of talent.
It wasn't the crown she was dreaming of, but the pageant presented a symbolic crown to Tara's family.
We just want you to know that we love her, and I speak for everyone.
It's brought a sobering reality to the pageant world that we're not invincible, we're not untouchable, this isn't a fantasy land, and that standing up in a gown on stage is important for a minute, but that minute's not eternal.
I don't know what we're gonna do next year when she's not there. It's gonna be really hard and different. I remember her spirit.
Joining us now is Detective Mike Higgins from the North Las Vegas Police Department. Thanks for being with us, Detective.
Thank you, John.
We understand you don't have any suspects, but that for the first time tonight, you're going to reveal some new clues about this case.
That's right, John. When we recovered Tara's vehicle, it was about 10 miles south of Boulder City on U.S. Route 95. The vehicle had broke down there. Another person who had been on the road that night saw two young Hispanics running from the vehicle in the desert towards the Laughlin area. We received a phone call shortly thereafter, an anonymous tip that the shooter is named Javier, and his last name they weren't sure of, but it could be a combination of any of these here: Velasquez, Vasquez, Delasquez, or Vasquez. The caller also told us that the accomplice in this is a young Hispanic male named Fernando. No further information on him. They also advised us that the relatives of Javier, he's got a father named Arturo and a brother that's known as Lecho.
Now, have you heard from the anonymous caller again?
No, we have not.
You have not. Well, this is a tough case, but our viewers have broken tougher cases than this before. So let's hope they can get some justice for Tara tonight. Now, if the anonymous caller is watching, please, we need you to call in again. We need that information. And if any of you know anything at all about this case, please have the courage. Make that call, 1-800-CRIME-TV. And remember, you can remain anonymous. When we come back, your tips and a SWAT team bring in capture number 346. Stay with us.
Police say he's a wife killer. Be there when they take him down.
A barricaded suspect is probably one of the most dangerous suspects.
Last month, we asked you to help track down Kenneth Othello Brown. Police say the one-time church deacon was no saint. Brown's first wife mysteriously disappeared, and his second wife was brutally murdered. When Brown was charged with the killing, he took off. Just 2 hours after we showed you his story, a SWAT team had Deacon Brown surrounded in a Lakeland, Florida apartment. Reporter Allison Camerata has the story.
On that particular evening, we were summoned to 515 Bon Air Street in reference to a possible wanted person that was inside an apartment. Patrol personnel had made contact with him, and he refused to come out of the apartment. A barricaded suspect is probably one of the most dangerous suspects that we can run across in our work and SWAT work, because you really don't know what's going through the person's mind. They know we're out there, we know they're in there, and he knows that sooner or later there's going to be a standoff between the police officers and him. I asked Sergeant Joe Henson to shine a spotlight onto the room. We had a sniper deployed in the area around here. He could see Mr. Brown peeking through the curtains intermittently.
The Lakeland Police SWAT team showed us how they surrounded the hiding place of accused murderer Kenneth Brown, one of America's most wanted. This is the actual video taken by police that night.
Mr. Brown did indeed step out from his apartment. I instructed Mr. Brown to turn and face away from my voice. I then instructed him to back toward my voice, and he went ahead and started doing that. And I commanded him back to where he was about 3 or 4 feet away from us. I asked him to get into a kneeling position so that we could handcuff him.
Brown had been working at this apartment complex as a maintenance man. The managers here knew him as mild-mannered Robert Brown and were shocked to see him on America's Most Wanted. They liked Brown, but they knew they had to call the authorities.
I think everybody was hoping that it wasn't him because, you know, he's been such a friend to everybody here and helpful. We were praying that it was a mistake.
But it was no mistake. Kenneth Brown, the man suspected of killing at least one of his wives, was finally caught. And for the victim's daughter, it was an unbelievable moment.
It's still like I have to pinch myself and say, is he really caught? Can I see him in jail? See him in chains or anything?
Kenneth Brown was in handcuffs after a year and a half of running. Back in Savannah, Georgia, Brown was the deacon of a Baptist church. In 1983, his first wife mysteriously disappeared. A year later, he married Dorothy, his second wife. In 1993, Brown claimed that Dorothy too had disappeared, but police found Dorothy's body a week later. She'd been stabbed. Dorothy's daughter immediately suspected Brown.
I think he's a sociopath, a man who just marries and then gets rid of you and tries to collect the insurance money.
Brown was charged with Dorothy's murder, but while he awaited trial, he escaped from house arrest by cutting off his monitoring anklet. Since then, Doreen has been waiting for justice to catch up with her stepfather.
I want him to sit there and just let stuff come and just hunt him. Just hunt him for the rest of his life.
Well, I just put it in the hands of the Lord. The Lord take care of it.
We caught up with the former deacon as he awaited extradition from the Polk County Jail. How do you respond to the charges of murder against you?
Well, the only thing I can say, I didn't do it.
Are you aware that Dorothy's daughter, Doreen, says that she thinks that you're guilty? Why do you think she thinks that?
I don't know. Why?
But Doreen says she has a good reason to think that Brown is guilty, because he told her so in a jailhouse conversation just 4 days after her mother's body was found.
You didn't have to do what you did. And he said, I know. I said, if you didn't want my mother anymore, you could have sent her home. He says, I know. I says, you took my last parent away from me. And he says, I know.
Do you remember a conversation that she talks about that she had with you in jail where she says that you admitted to it?
Yeah.
She said to you, you took my last parent from me. And you said, I know I did.
I responded, but I was, during that time, I can remember I was a little shook up. And I don't recall being saying that I know.
After Brown's arrest, one of the first things detectives wanted to do was get in here to Brown's apartment. They knew Brown was the type of guy that kept meticulous records, so detectives figured if they could just find his computer, they could find some clues to his mysterious past.
He would record things in little memo pads and journals and things of this nature. If you have the tendency to do that, you'd have a tendency to put it on a computer too, I would think.
Detectives did find Brown's computer and are now hoping they'll be able to crack his secret password. But there is still one more mystery in this case. To this day, no one knows what happened to Brown's first wife, Arathalia, who disappeared from this house 12 years ago. Though Brown's never been charged, many neighbors, relatives, and police think he knows more than he's saying.
All of a sudden, one day, she left. I haven't heard from her since.
She just up and left.
Right.
And what do you think happened to her?
One time, one thing crossed my mind was that she probably got mixed up with some religious code. Or to disappear like that, nobody hear from her.
I think he murdered his first wife. I think he threw it on his job in a cesspool with his acid and no remains, no nothing. Can't never find him.
He worked over at Union Camp and knew about this area over here.
If Arathalia's body were dumped in here, what would happen to it?
Well, first of all, the acid that's in this type of liquid and chemicals over here would probably eat it all up.
It seems that there are a lot of mysterious disappearances and murder around you. How do you explain that?
I can't explain it. I don't know. I can't explain why. It's just a terrible mystery.
If he did do it, I'm glad that he was caught and he's going to be punished for what he did, because it's a human life. He hurt other people besides just who he supposedly murdered or what happened. And, he's got to pay for it.
Remember, Brown is charged only with the murder of his second wife. He'll go to trial on May 22nd. When we come back, a nationwide manhunt for a wandering Casanova who police say is breaking hearts, taking lives. Stay with us. Our next story deals with HIV, the virus that causes AIDS. You should know that this story frankly addresses sexual issues, and it may not be suitable for younger children. But it's a story that becomes more and more important every day, because AIDS is now the top killer of young adults in America. People with the virus have a responsibility to alert sexual partners to their condition. Half the country, it's the law. But police in Arkansas say Pierre Weaver is using the HIV virus as a weapon, and he's targeting young women. Police suspect that Weaver's twisted idea of romance means that he may have infected more than 30 women so far. Valentine's Day, a time when lovers celebrate and share their affection with each other. A day when others remember old flames that flickered in their past.
Pierre was a great lover, Pierre was gentle, Pierre was warm, and Pierre was just everything you ever wanted in a man.
Pierre had a good body, he was good looking, Pierre was funny, Pierre was smooth, Pierre was charming.
For these two young women, Valentine's Day only represents a time of anger, a reminder of the day they fell head over heels in love with 30-year-old Pierre Weaver, a lover who kept a deadly secret from them.
I heard about the first love being the most painful, but this is ridiculous.
He not only ripped my heart out, he took my life away.
These affairs of the heart came to the attention of the Fort Smith Police Department because they say the man those two women were in love with intentionally and secretly gave them a fatal disease.
In 1993, Pierre Weaver was notified by the local county health department that he was HIV positive. Since that time, Pierre Weaver has had unprotected sex with several female partners. He has neglected to protect himself, and he has not told his female partners that he is HIV positive. Pierre Weaver apparently has an attitude that since he has HIV, everyone else should have HIV, and he's trying his best to go around and infect everyone else. He's unleashing this virus on an unsuspecting public. Right now we have two young ladies that are HIV positive because of their interactions with Mr. Weaver.
Police say Weaver knew he was HIV positive, yet he continued to have unprotected sex with dozens of women and didn't tell any of them. Arkansas is one of 22 states which have made it a felony to intentionally expose another person to the HIV virus. 4 other states have passed laws making it a misdemeanor.
I asked him, to use a condom, and he said he didn't want to because there wasn't nothing wrong with it. And I said, well, I don't know that. I said, I haven't been with you in a long time, and I don't know what you've been doing. He said, well, there's not nothing wrong with me. So I told him, I said, well, I don't know that. So I said, you're going to have to either use one or we're not going to do it. So finally he said, well, okay. He put one on, and halfway through, he took it off. And I asked him why he did that. He said, well, it just don't feel good. He said, you ain't got to worry about nothing. There's nothing wrong with me.
Pierre did not like condoms. He had a box in his room, and I imagine he told every woman the same thing. I wear them with everybody else but you. And he just said they was too tight, it didn't feel good, they was too little. I mean, anything.
It's life-threatening, obviously. And that's why, he does need to be brought to justice, and especially to these women that he's exposed and not told that he had AIDS. I mean, it's one thing to tell someone you have AIDS and they get to make a conscious decision of whether they want to have sexual relations. It's another just to have sexual relations and not let them be aware of the potential dangers.
Pierre was a liar. Pierre was a cheater. Pierre was a dog. Pierre took my life away from me and my kids. And I'm just mad about it.
When I first was told that I was HIV positive, I can't describe it. It felt like someone just reached in my heart and just ripped it out. I had to drive home and tell my mom, it's the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I said, Mom, I'm HIV positive. And she said, from Pierre? And I said, yes. And we just sit there and cried for 48 hours. Our mission today is to find Pierre. And every day we get a step closer, and hopefully this will bring him in. I just think that if you've seen this man, you do need to turn him in, because he could be infecting your sister, your cousin, your mother, anybody, your niece. It might be in your family next. So just stop him while you can.
Pierre Weaver has been charged with knowingly exposing 2 people to HIV, a Class A felony in Arkansas. He's a charmer, maybe infecting new victims every day. If you know where Pierre Weaver is tonight, don't hesitate. Call 1-800-CRIME-TV. Now, here's a quick review of tonight's cases. Francis Sepulveda is wanted in Lawrence, Massachusetts for the murder of a 7-year-old girl. Tammy Weller was serving 20 years for attempted murder when she escaped from prison in Carson City, Nevada. Witnesses say she may be traveling with Ole Trent Redmond, wanted for probation violation. Pierre Laverne Weaver is the Arkansas man charged with knowingly exposing his lovers to the HIV virus. Next week, America's Most Wanted honors some extraordinary people.
I've had hostage negotiation training, and I've had SWAT team training.
If you're taken hostage, this mild-mannered cop is better than Rambo.
I wouldn't have ever been prepared for anything quite like this.
The kidnapper was literally a ticking time bomb.
I thought, this is it. I'm going to die any minute now.
But this cop